Welcome back to the show. Now, for those of you who just joined us, we're here on the show with Betty Lin from FICAC. Now, Betty, tell us about the NACC program. Do you have a mechanism to follow up on the effectiveness of the introduction of NACC into our school system?
Okay, so first of all, like I mentioned before, the NACC was launched in July. So the implementation of the anti-corruption curriculum is happening in 3 phases. So the first one was the pilot phase and the launch, which happened this year. The pilot phase actually happened last year, the launch this year. And the second phase of implementation will happen next year with a nationwide training for all Fijian teachers. And that is a very crucial part in the implementation process because teachers need to be able to understand the themes that we have introduced. And the thing is, we haven't introduced new themes. We've simply complemented the national framework for the curriculum and the way it's built. So those subjects were carefully chosen. The activities that we've implemented were carefully inserted. We're not disrupting the balance of anything. Students will just have an extra bonus of lessons. So I hope they enjoy that. And in terms of monitoring the effectiveness of the program, we will have there needs to be monitoring programs there, and there are. The FICAC officers will always be there, and there will be 6 monthly or every term. At the end of every term, there will be talks with the teachers. There will be feedback, constant feedback, not only to measure the effectiveness, but to see on ways we can improve it, because things always need to be improved, and we will be right on top of it.
Now, how is the FICAC strategic planner set out to help you achieve your yearly focus?
So FICAC strategic planner has actually been set from 2018 to carry us right through to 2023. And it has 4 guiding principles. And these are policies, capacity building, creativity, and public relations. So all 4 of them are interrelated and interweaved throughout the different levels of the Commission to ensure that we are constantly working with different stakeholders inside and outside of the different ministries, the organizations, to help them implement and create anti-corruption policies which safeguard them and leave no loopholes for corrupt activity to take place. In terms of creativity and public relations, now that is a very interesting part of the strategic planner because corruption is such a complex issue. We can't just present it and have a big discussion on it. There needs to be different levels of understanding. There's corruption, anti-corruption, the different types of things. So for creativity and public relations, this is where the Commission is dedicated to being able to present corruption and anti-corruption in a way that is relatable to people so that they are inspired to fight against it. And as for public relations, that is where partnerships with the media comes in, and it's been great working with the media, sharing press releases of our court events, not just that, what's happening outside of the court through our anti-corruption initiatives. And not only that, using social media. FICAC recently came back on social media this year, so we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So that was a means of engaging and increasing engagement with the public. So the response so far has been great.
Now, Betty, how many cases has FICAC dealt with, say, in the last 3 years?
In the last 3 years, the Commission has produced 79 cases before the different courts around the country. Now, these cases involved 119 individuals who were either alleged or have been convicted of engaging in corrupt practices like bribery, abuse of office, fraud, falsification of documents, obtaining a gain, etc.
Now, what is the outcome for most of these cases?
Over the last 3 years, the Commission has been able to record 35 convictions, and these convictions came in either with accused individuals facing prison time, they even got suspended sentences, and there were also fines given out, and this involved 50 individuals.
Now, in terms of the nature of the cases that come to FICAC, has it changed compared to, say, the last 5 years? And if so, what does the trend tell us about the corruption culture that we have here in this country?
Over the last 5 years, it has definitely changed, and the trend tells us that corruption is prevalent in Fiji. Now, like time doesn't wait for anybody, corruption never sleeps, and it's constantly evolving. The methods of engaging in corruption is always evolving, so people are finding new ways, using technology even, to engage in corrupt practices. So the Commission is doing all it can through training programs and there's constant work being done to ensure that we remain on top of the game to be able to identify corruption and investigate it and prosecute it.
Now, why do you think corruption exists?
There are many reasons for why corruption exists, and if I had to name them all, we'd be here for a very long time. But simply, corruption exists because there are people who have great desire for things. Now, desire can be a good thing because it motivates you to go out there and get what you want to do, and etc. as such. But it becomes a problem if it compromises your moral values that have been instilled in you, and when you are willing to engage in illegal acts or illegal means of getting the things you desire. So a lot of the times corruption cases deal with a lot of money. People steal money over a long period of time. And not only that, if people who are willing to break the rules to get what they want, if they have systems or they're able to find loopholes in the systems of the places where they work to engage in corruption, they will use it and exploit it.
Thank you very much for that, Betty. Now stay with us, we've got more after the break.